Lady Mary, who is no stranger to a male member, remember season 1? I don't need to go into it, okay? We know that Lady Mary Crawley is a worldly woman, all right? So, she's being blackmailed again. That's the storyline. A random chambermaid from that hotel in Liverpool that she spent that week-long tryst with Tony Gillingham, right? You might remember this. Chambermaid comes and she's like a kind of witch at the feast. She's hanging around and then she threatens Mary. She says, I know what you did. I can prove it. I was a chambermaid and I'm going to ruin you. I'm going to go to the press unless you pay me. I swear I saw Lady Mary suppress a little yawn while this woman was talking to her. I think Lady Mary Crawley was as bored as I was about this storyline. And I gotta tell you, I think Julian Fellowes was too, which is why the beginning, middle, and end of this tedious storyline was in episode 1. It did not continue. They didn't drag it out. That's the first thing. Second Groundhog Day moment was Anna and Bates. Oh my goodness. How unlucky are these two people? They've had 10 years of bad luck. I mean, every time I see them. Okay, picture this. So Anna is Lady Mary's lady's maid. Bates is Lord Grantham's valet. So from the moment Bates arrives, he's misjudged, he's lied about, and then he is framed for the murder of his wife. Okay, he has a terrible time in prison, then finally he's released and exonerated, all that. That's great. Then Anna is raped. Awful. Then the rapist is killed. First, Bates is accused. Then he's released. We have to go through all of that. Bates, you're accused. Now you're released. And we were doubting you. Then Anna is charged, right? And then she's released, but it's on bond. So we know she could still be a murderer. She could still hang. Finally, in this episode, we are put out of our misery, okay? We finally see that someone else has come forward and someone else has been charged. And yes, Anna didn't do it, which we kind of knew. We're just getting bored by their legal woes. No sooner is that over, we find out that Anna has had a miscarriage. One of a series of miscarriages. And it just goes on and on. And, you know, the problem is that it's not that I'm heartless. It's never ending. And I just can't handle it anymore. And so Anna and Bates, all of a sudden, after a while, first I was really sad for them. Now I just see their utter faces looking miserable and stressed out. I'm like, no, that's my utter face. Every time I see them, I'm feeling miserable and stressed out. Okay. The most wonderful thing in this episode was Carson and Mrs. Hughes. Mrs. Patmore is the go-between because Mrs. Hughes is really worried with her middle-aged self that Carson's not going to find attractive what she is. Mrs. Patmore has this deliciously awkward conversation with Carson. And Carson's such a traditionalist. He still calls Mrs. Hughes, you know. And Miss Patmore asks about sex and what kind of relationship Carson wants. And Carson says, I want to be as close as it is possible to be with Mrs. Hughes for as long as we both shall live. A tear came into my eye. It was romantic. It was uncharacteristically open. It demonstrated the genius and knowing of Julian Fellowes, the creator and writer of Downton Abbey. And long live Downton Abbey. Long live Downton Abbey in this final season. So, stay tuned. Stay tuned. Come back next week. Same time, same place. We will be waiting for you, lovers of Downton Abbey. Goodbye.